Hello, and welcome to the Healing Dreams Project, exploring projective dream work for your health and wholeness, with hosts Billie Ortiz and Dr. Royce Fitz. I am the producer, Viviana, and today we are going to explore one of Billie's dreams. Yay, Billie!
Yeah. So this is a dream that I had March 23rd, and my very dear friend Donna Remmert had passed away just about 6 weeks before, and I was so excited when she showed up in my dream. Incredibly exciting and thrilling and made me scared and nervous all at the same time. So I'll read a bit of it and you can jump in wherever you want and whatever comes to your mind. Okay, so I titled it Donna Appears.
So I need to check. You said we could jump in anytime?
Well, let me read the whole thing and then just jump
Okay.
into any part of it. That's what I meant. I should have said it that way.
Good to know, dreamer.
Okay, so I'm waiting on the side of the road at Canyon and the end of Arapahoe near the bridge that leads to my old office at 250 Arapahoe. I'm with someone, maybe Patty. Donna drives up in an SUV and it looks like her Lexus. I get in the passenger seat and I start talking to her, and then I realize I didn't ask how she was feeling. And I say, "How are you feeling, Donna? Last time I saw you, you were hooked up to a lot of machines." She sort of sidesteps the question and just continues driving, but I can tell that she's a little hurt that I didn't ask how she was feeling. It seems like we're headed to brunch. So parentheses, like the little footnote. In this dream, it feels like Donna is still alive. And of course, the last time I saw her, she was not in the hospital and not hooked up to machines. So then, I'm at a gathering of people in a house I don't recognize in waking life. Throughout the house, there are random people lying on the floor, sleeping by themselves, each with a pillow and a blanket. And I sit at a table with Laura, Patty, and Karen, and others, and I start telling them about my dream with Donna, which is a frequent thing that happens in my dreams, where I tell about the dream ahead before that. Patty and Karen and others, and I start telling them about my dream with Donna. Then I look across the table and I see Donna sitting there. She looks great. I'm shocked, happy, scared, sad, and thrilled all at the same time. Then I realize that I'm the only one that can see her. And I start describing her clothes to the others, and I tell everyone she's wearing a silk purple knee-length vest with stripes and geometric patterns, and a purple blouse, and her hair and glasses look beautiful. At first, she doesn't really say anything, doesn't even smile. Then she starts telling me that she ran into some obstructions and describes it like a construction zone where she had to go over large objects like pipes and concrete dividers. At first, I'm thinking she's talking about waking life, as I'm picturing her walking on a driveway. Then I realize she's talking about going to the other side. And she says, "I finally got my papers." And she holds up her left hand to show me a pair of suede-like hand-stitched shoes that look a lot like moccasins. The understanding is that this was some kind of reward or acknowledgement of an accomplishment. Then I start talking to another woman in the gathering sitting on the steps. She looks to be mid-40s with dark shoulder-length hair, and she's very impressed that I was able to see Donna. And I think to myself, maybe I could work as a medium, since Donna came to me clearly as though she were sitting right there. Then the woman holds up a couple of handmade, crudely sewn dolls that are human figures, but the head is very small in comparison to the length and width of the body. The arms and legs are very long and skinny, and the adult doll is about 10 inches long. The child doll is about 4 inches. They remind me of the aliens at the end of the movie E.T. Actually, I meant
Close encounters.
Close encounters, yeah. They're made of some very basic type of natural material, almost like burlap. And I tell the woman that these dolls are from the first dream, and that there were other dolls in that dream as well. The understanding is that these are the actual dolls from the dream, not dolls made to represent what was in the dream. I tell the woman that the other dolls in the first dream were a lot like Russian nesting dolls. End of dream.
Let's all just be silent for a second because
In
that's all
honor
we
of the
can
dream.
do. Yeah, in honor. That's right. In honor of the dream.
Well,
Yep.
I don't
Whoops.
I don't know Donna. Royce knows Donna.
A little bit.
So my first impulse would be just I need some descriptors of Donna.
Okay, Donna was one of the most creative, inventive, unique, funny. Didn't even know she didn't know she was funny. One of those kind of people. She's just funny because this is her personality. Very loving, caring, motherly. In fact, I adopted her as my soul mother because she was much more a mother to me than my birth mother ever was. Um, she was great because I used to call her my press agent. She would go around telling people, "Have you heard what Billie's doing lately? Here's a flyer. Here, hey, you got to come to the retreat. This is such a wonderful, wonderful event." And she was constantly handing out cards and postcards and brochures for me, lovingly. And also, one other thing I respected about her very much was she was very supportive, but she also had really important creative criticism that I needed to hear. Like, okay, Billie, that particular part of that workshop, that didn't work. Nobody was happy there. And I heard some bad comments, and, I just got to let you know that was not a good. I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's good to hear. Because, you want to, and which was a lot like Jeremy was the same way. Like, he was my adopted father. So it's kind of like that really important, caring, responsive feedback that you need to hear from someone in a parental kind of role. So that's Donna. We had a lot of fun together. We traveled together. We had shared a lot of meals and hotel rooms and events and things together. It was just we were just always she was just like one of my buddies for a long time.
So, um, you meant for more context, assuming or perhaps not assuming the listeners know where you are when you have these. You gave street names, but you're in Boulder.
Yes, Boulder,
Okay.
Colorado. Arapahoe is a very, very long street that goes all through Boulder County. It stretches out to where I live now, and about 11, 12 miles outside of Boulder, goes across, pretty much stretches from east to west all through Boulder County. Very, very big, long street. And for many, many years, I worked for a lawyer. I was a personal assistant for him for many years. And we had a beautiful office up at 250 Rabbit, which is right at the base of the canyon, Boulder Canyon, like right before you leave the city and you go into the mountains. That's where this office was located. So the very first stream starts right at that corner, right where the city ends and the canyon starts.
And you mentioned Patty and Laura and Karen, I believe.
Ah,
And
right. So Patty and Karen and Laura are all my very close friends. And when Donna was alive, we were kind of like the group, we were like the buds, we got together. That's what we did. We used to go up to Donna's son's condo in Vail, Colorado, and just get away and do art and have fun and make food and hang out together and do dreams. And we called ourselves the Vale Vixens at that time because it was just our getaway thing. And so Patty's a very close friend. She's been doing dreams with me for many years. I met her, oh gosh, I don't know how many, probably 15 years ago. And Karen, the same. I met Karen in probably like 2007. Um, very close, dear friends. We do a lot of dreams and artwork together. And Laura, the same. We're all like, just our commonality is that we all love metaphor, symbol, dreams, and we love to do collage and artwork and hang out together and laugh. We like to laugh together too.
I noticed that you said something about like dreams have their own logic, and so as I was experiencing this dream, as the dreamer was sharing, it sounds like that I start in one part of the dream, and then I move into, and then I'm still dreaming, but I'm talking about the earlier dream. And is that correct?
Yes. That's a
Mhm.
very, very common thing that happens in my dreams where I have a dream and then as though I move into another location, another scenario, I start talking to those people about that first dream. And I which is a form of lucidity, really, when you think about it, because I'm talking about a dream, even though I'm still dreaming, but it feels as though I'm awake in that second dream. And I go, by the way, let me tell you about this dream.
Mhm.
So that's what's happening here. I'm sitting at the table going, and then I had this dream, about Donna, and she comes up in her Lexus, and then I look across the table, and there she is. There's Donna. Yeah, that's very common to happen. That's a very typical thing that happens in my dreams.
Yeah, it's very common, and and just to reflect a bit how how it dreams come at within many levels of being,
Mm-hmm.
and so in this dream I have perhaps at least two, if not more, dreams all in one.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, and a visitation too. So like you can
Mhm,
add that to the piece. Yeah, it's
mhm,
very fascinating how that happens very
mhm,
frequently with me, where I'm telling somebody about a dream that I just had. And then I wake up and I go, wow, there was like two or three layers to that. Like
mhm,
talking about a dream and about a dream and then a dream and a dream. Yeah.
mhm.
Mm. Yeah, the lucidity, the mediumship,
Mm-hmm.
the dream, the sharing of dreams with friends, which happens in real life, and yeah. So if it were my dream, I love how I'm the passenger and my very trusted friend slash mother figure,
Right.
adopted mother figure,
Mm-hmm.
comes and picks me up. So it's somebody that I very much admire. I feel cared for. I completely trust her to be in the driver's seat, and she picks me up. At the same time, I feel regret that I didn't ask how she was feeling. So I wonder if there are any regrets as knowing now that Donna has passed, are there any regrets that I might have
Mm.
as the dreamer?
That's a very complex question because she really, really suffered the last like 2.5, 3 years of her life. She just her health just failed. It was like right around when she always had some issues, but right when the pandemic hit, like early 2020, and she was isolated, and we couldn't go and see her until my friends and I had become vaccinated, and then we finally went and I could tell immediately the complete decline that had happened with her health and her body and everything. And part of it was she was suffering from different medical and physical problems, but also she was such an extrovert, Donna was like, she was always the one that was organizing the next luncheon, and she was on a board of directors, and she was putting together another event, and that's what she really thrived on. And I think my projection is that part of her decline had to do with that she just couldn't be around people for that length of time. The early parts of the pandemic, if people remember, like, it was just shut down. Things were just shut down all over. And we were all so scared to, even try to get near. I mean, she was in her 80s, so, we didn't want to come and transmit anything, make her ill. But I noticed a big difference in her whole body and her whole just she just declined so much. And I it was shocking, actually, to have that length of time where we hadn't seen each other. So yeah, so a whole lot of my relationship with her was, how are you doing? And she would have this long list about things that were going wrong. And you have to, take a breath and listen. And it's like with anybody in their 70s or 80s, you got to just, oh, and how are your knees? And how are you?
Careful on that.
How's your back? And, have you been sleeping? And how have you been eating? So that has to be like the first, like 30, 40 minutes of your conversation. But with Donna, it got more and more, it just became the only conversation we had for a while. And that was difficult, because, I felt hopeless. I'm like, how can I help you? I've done everything I can to help you, and really can't do anything else after a while. So it became like how do I put this? I could tell that the pain went deeper than physical. It was certainly much more of a metaphor for again, this is a projection, but my projection was that my friend Donna was expressing all this pain that came from a much deeper place than just the physical piece, and maybe spiritual wounding. I don't know. So that's where I have to ask myself, where does that show up in me?
Mm-hmm.
That's Billie the dreamer, because she's showed up in my dream. So
Well, and thank you for being attuned to yourself, to ask yourself that question in front of all of us.
right.
Because this dream is about Donna, and this dream is about me.
Right.
Yeah, and in fact, the aspects that I'm reminded of about Donna in all of her glory are also a reflection of me, and vice versa. So I am this I am all of the above in this dream.
Yeah. Right. Right. Yes.
Mhm.
Gotta own it.
Got-
Gotta own it. I know that.
I wonder if there are other people in my life that maybe I should show more care and attention, myself included.
Yeah. Well, certainly. Yes, it's a wake-up call to listen to my body, to listen to my emotional needs. And that was one of the things that was so beautiful about Donna. She did have that helper piece, which I know I have as well. It's like, how are, she was always looking out for everybody else, and was very much a mom and a caregiver throughout all her life. And I think that last part of her life, the last 4 to 5 years probably, she turned more of that toward inward, like, I'm the one suffering now, I'm the one that needs help. And what I know from being, because anybody that knows anything about the Enneagram, is that the helper type, we are confused why nobody else helps us as much as we help other people. There's that kind of feeling of like, I'm crying out in pain, but nobody gets it. That this is, because it's like a sacrificial kind of piece. And the helpers, the number 2 in the Enneagram, the helper, has a lot to do with self-sacrificing to the point of depletion.
Mm.
So it is a wake-up call for me when I see and hear and reflect on what my last few years with Donna was like. I'm like, oh my God, she's in so much pain, and I really wish there was something else I could do to help. And most of the time I couldn't. It's like, what can we do? So both and.
Mm.
Well, in my dream, um, and and this feels important to lift up for all the listeners. When we have a powerful dream like this of someone who has deceased and they show up, and they show up in such a prominent manner, like in this dream. This is a very rich show up
Yeah.
of a deceased person. And there are all these elements that occur in this dream that are so accurate of what the waking life has been with Donna in this case,
Right.
because as the dreamer describes, all of these minute details of hanging out with each other,
Mm.
and then hanging out again with each other, and then talking with this woman that in my dream I don't know, and yet I'm talking about these dolls
Mhm.
that occur in one part of the dream and then another part of the dream, and they're somewhat different. So where I want to go in is that this kind of a dream invites so much uh, assumption and projection that this is indeed a visitation. So
Yeah.
everything is so easy to take literal.
Right.
And while I believe that there most often, maybe always, is a literal strain in dreams, that's not, as we've often talked about, that's not why the dream comes. We already know that. However, we get so enraptured by all of this amazing visitation that we lose sight of the other levels. And that's why in my dream, I'm having at least two dreams in one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm having this glorious visitation that my heart wants to take literal. And then I move into this other aspect. And so I'm talking about the dream, the first dream. And so that kind of helps to ground me. So in my dream, this is not about a double negative. This is not about not having a visitation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Right.
let's whatever our understanding of the cosmology in the universe. Okay, let's call this a visitation. Well, what is new in this for me that is being invited for me to explore, that has all of these elements and facets? And what is new in this that also is about more than me,
Mm.
that this dream is coming for my tribe, my family, my community.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's a lot said there. Yeah. Yes, I agree. It can never be just one or the other. It's both and. So yes, it's a visitation dream, and yes, it's a dream about me seeing my projection in Donna. Um, what I find interesting about the fact that, the latter part of the second dream, I'm talking about these dolls, which do not appear in the first dream. So there must have been some dream in between there or something that happened.
Mhm.
Who knows? But that seemed
So let's underline that. There must have been another part of the dream or another dream inside of this dream.
right.
So that's important in the depths of our unconscious. So thanks
Right.
for saying that.
And because I mention it, but there's no mention of the dolls in the first dream, but it seems like to be a very, very important part because as I said, it's not like these are not just representations of something in the dream. These are the actual dolls from the dream. If that make like I've manifested them somehow. Um, which seems very, very powerful. Um, And the other thing that I continue to be so fascinated by, this thing about the pavers, the shoes. She calls them pavers. I have no idea what that's about, but they look like little moccasins. And that was one thing that Donna often would give me her old shoes because, you know, she got to a point, we had exactly the same size foot. And as she got older, any kind of heel of any type at all, said, okay, I can't wear these anymore. Do you want these? I said, okay, sure. So I have like all of these shoes from Donna. Like, and this is a necklace from her too. This is a gift that she gave me. There's something about the shoes in the dream seemed important, like that, like she had acquired some kind of as I say in the dream, like it's a recognition of some kind of accomplishment, some kind of level of award or something. She goes, I finally got my pavers, and she holds them up. I don't know what that means. I'm very puzzled by that.
Shoes immediately for me. I mean, that's huge. Souls. I'm the next Donna. I'm embodying so much of Donna every day now, and how I walk, the way I walk, what I wear. It's and I wonder if the clothes that were described, or that I described wearing a silk purple knee-length vest, stripes and geometric patterns, and a purple blouse. So how much of that also represents me today? I'm wearing a scarf today also. It just says to me, it's almost like I am somehow living the next generation
Mm,
of Donna, like Donna 2.0 or something.
yeah,
um
right. She had such great style, and we would, in fact, the first like 15 minutes we got together, we were talking about our clothes. We'd thought, wait, oh God, that's beautiful. Gee, where'd you get? Oh, I could, and we'd borrow things back and forth all the time because we had very, very similar tastes. So yeah, it's right. I love that idea. Like, I've been wearing this for those people that are listening rather than viewing. It's a jade pendant, that circular pendant that I'm wearing, that was a gift from Donna, that um is very precious to me, and it just kind of, it holds a lot of her essence, and so I wear it every time I do dream work now.
the dolls for me represent, I can't help but go to voodoo, I mean,
Ah,
it's, which is
right.
another sort of layer. I mean, voodoo sounds weird, but it is another way. It's like mediumship, and I mean, all these elements of the conscious. When I explore my conscious mind, I think that that's just another sort of chapter if I were studying the subconscious, unconscious, and
Mm,
intuition in general.
right, right.
It's helpful to hear that. I don't remember the word that I want to use, so I'll use another word. But these little dolls that are representing beings, and in my dream,
Mm.
it kind of reminds me of Close Encounters of the Aliens. And I would, for me, in my dream, I would say that's what it reminds me of. This actually is, in my dream, a fetish
Mm,
that, in the ancient world, how we would, as humans, would create these
yes.
um, fetishes, sometimes having human form, sometimes out of cottonwood roots, sometimes out of uh, plants, um,
Mhm.
and so this appears. And so when I heard Viviana say um, more of the mediumship, uh, that seems to be a theme that is within me, to notice my and notice the ways that the veils are thin between worlds,
Mhm.
and that I may be being asked, in a sense, inside myself, to myself,
Yeah.
to be curious even more about how I might somehow walk uh,
Yeah.
in both worlds or in multiple
Mhm.
worlds. At least, we can take that metaphorically and or literally.
Mm. Yeah. Very much. Yeah. I I I do have a few dolls that I, you know, hold on to that I think have special energy within them. And then I'm reminded of the story of Vasilisa, where her mother gives her a doll on her deathbed, and it represents her intuition throughout the whole story. I won't go into the whole thing, but yes, it's a they're very powerful. It can be very powerful to understand and hold that as the object of, like you said, the intuition and whatever. Yeah. So I it's fascinating that I talk so much about the dolls at the end, and then I'm like, well, where do they show up in the dream before? So there must be other layers that because every time we record a dream, we're recording what we can remember, but there's many other layers that are happening at the same time. So
And
I,
sorry, go ahead, Viviana.
just the word layers. I tell the woman that the other dolls in the first dream were a lot like Russian nesting dolls, and that are the Russian nesting dolls are layers upon layers upon layers.
yes,
Just
Mm,
brought that to mind.
right.
How
wow.
just everything about this dream just has so many nesting dolls or just
Mm.
layers upon layers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really fascinating, isn't it? That in our dream, in my dream, there are levels of this dream that I know exist and I don't recall in my waking state.
Right. But I refer to them in the second dream. So there's some kind of
Mhm.
energy there
Yes.
that's harder to bring back into conscious awareness, but it's
Well,
there.
for me, it's goosebumpy that uh, when I allow myself uh, to dream, and I create all these levels of dreams, and I only remember a little bit of
Mhm.
maybe two dreams,
Right.
and yet all of this is happening. I I want to circle back to this woman that I don't know,
Right.
and as we've talked about before, when people appear, sometimes that we don't know, sometimes they are
Mhm.
representative of the gatekeeper for me to have a connection with, and so this person is talking about the dolls first. Is that correct?
Yeah, she starts showing them to me. I think let's see.
So this unknown part of myself and or this entity, this gatekeeper, is reminding me, is that the right way to say this,
Right.
about the dolls and about uh, these other aspects of my dream that I'm not remembering.
Yeah, so she starts up like says she's very impressed that I was able to see Donna, because I'm the only one that can see Donna in the dream of the friends around me.
Mhm.
And that's when I say, well, maybe I could work as a medium. Um, yeah, and so then she holds up a couple of handmade crudely sewn dolls and shows them to me, and I'm like, oh yeah, those were from my dream. Then I realized once she's shown them to me, I'm like, oh my God, yes, those were from my dream. But who knows? I don't
But
know. That's
but I think I remember saying those those are not really the dolls from my first dream. These are representatives of the dolls. Is that
the opposite. That I
okay?
realized that the understanding is that these are the actual dolls from the dream,
Mm,
not dolls made to represent what was in the dream.
okay, thank
But
you.
like they actually came into physical
Mhm.
form from the dream, which, wow.
Mm.
How amazing is that? It's like, dreaming of a flower and waking up with a flower in your hand, that kind of thing. Yeah, that's how
It's
it feels.
mind blowing.
That's how it feels. It feels like, oh, these actually came from the dream. So,
So,
Precognitive flavor.
what's that?
It has a precognitive flavor to it.
Yeah.
oh, precognitive, yes. So, how does this woman, what, I'm curious, who does she represent in my dream?
Oh, good question. She seems very friendly. She seems very approachable. She seems as though she has information that she wants to tell me. Kind of like, wow, you saw Donna. You know, you actually saw Donna. You're the only one who saw Donna. And then she's holding up the dolls, and I'm like, oh yeah. And then I'm like having this conversation with her about how important this is, that it came through physically. And it seems as though she has information that I need to know. It's the best way to put it, is that she seems as though I don't know, she doesn't notice me until I see Donna, and then all of a sudden she's interested in me. Then it's kind of like,
She's
oh,
very impressed.
right. She's like, okay, come on. I need to talk to you now. I'm like, oh, okay. So
Well, sorry.
somebody with secret knowledge is the best way to put it. A part of me in the dream that
Mhm,
knows secret knowledge. I don't know.
mhm. Right. So she's impressed, like Viviana said. This
Mhm.
woman is impressed. So, in some ways, this dream, metaphorically and or literally, is a test, some kind of,
Right.
one of the meanings of this dream, which there are many, is a test. And I passed the test.
Mhm.
This woman has been perhaps observing that part of me that is observing, and I've passed this test.
Right.
So that tell and I get a little goosebumpy on this,
Hmm.
everybody to know here. Uh, this tells me in my dream that I'm going to have more there is more to come,
Right.
because I have to show I am worthy.
Mm.
and it's not about self-worth.
Right.
That's way, to whatever. This is about, I have passed this test, I am worthy for the next level, and so I need to pay attention, because the dreams are coming.
Mm.
And again, this beautiful harmony of me, my mother, my spiritual mother. I mentioned my spiritual father is Jeremy.
Mm.
And so I have this all within me.
Right.
So
Mm.
all of this is needed to be there so that I can move into another level, through another door, through another dream.
Wow. In that sense, she would be a gatekeeper,
Mm-hmm,
threshold guardian. She's got the
mm-hmm,
energy
mm-hmm,
to say, all right,
mm-hmm,
so you've
mm-hmm,
succeeded this level. Here's what's next.
mm-hmm,
So I
mm-hmm.
know I'm ready. Better be careful what I say because I'm ready.
Well, I wonder what we would say about if this is an invitation to move deeper, and that I am showing myself to be ready for this. I, I'm curious what the dreamer would say about what I'm moving towards, that I am ready for.
Wow. It's a really big question. Um, I feel like I'm walking on the bottom of the ocean half the time, because I work a lot with dreams and work with dreams from people all over the world now. And I notice and see the connections between the dreams, that I work with different people that don't even know each other, and how the collective unconscious tends to put things like a beads on a necklace, and it's just sort of like, oh, this is the theme lately. It's going to be about oceans now. We're going to be dreaming about oceans. We're going to be about whales now.
Mhm.
And so there's an opening, I feel, that it's always been there, but I feel like I'm even more aware of it now, that the collective unconscious is stronger and more connected than any of us can ever fathom. And sometimes it becomes overwhelming because I feel as though, wow, I'm just like this short little white chick from Kentucky, like what, why do I have to be the person that has all this information flow in? But it does come, and it's there, and I'm
Can anything good come out of Nazareth? As the old scripture says about this strange man.
right.
Yeah. So can anything good come out of Kentucky?
Right. I know that's ancient history, but still that's where I came from. So there's this kind of feeling of like sometimes I'm very overwhelmed by it. Other times I feel very blessed. Sometimes I'm confused. Sometimes I'm weary and just completely overwhelmed. Um Because I mean, I don't know if people realize I do dreams like all the time. I think you guys understand this because my work schedule and my stuff. But it's like I have very few breaks in between, and it's as though like I say, I feel like I'm always walking on the bottom of the ocean. So if this woman who showed up in my dream with the dolls is a harbinger for what else is coming, I have to take a really big deep breath and say, I need more vitamins or something. I need to start more energy drinks. It's because I used to talk to Jeremy about this all the time when we did individual work together. Um, he would always say, how are the archetypes beating you up today, Billie? And I'd go, yes. And it was just this idea that, yeah, it's bigger than us, so much bigger than us. They're larger than life. So the more we touch up against these energies, the more risk we run of being burned up. Let's put it that way.
Mm.
So that's how I feel sometimes.
Hmm.
Just a little thing like that.
The adult doll is 10 inches long,
Yeah.
and the child doll is 4 inches long.
Mm-hmm.
Both 10 and 4 are very balanced numbers, I would say. And
Hmm.
5 and 5 is 10, but it can be broken up in many ways. 10 is the Wheel of Fortune in Tarot,
Mm-hmm.
and 4 is the Emperor.
Mm-hmm.
Wheel of Fortune is about cycles or the moon, and the Emperor is power,
Mm-hmm.
self power, and maybe now's the time
Yeah.
to jump into these layers deep in the water and pull out the different layers of the collective unconscious
Mm.
as I peer through everyone's dreams.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Thank you. Yeah. And there is my life tarot number is 4, the Emperor.
Ah,
There's a
nice.
calculation you can do with your birth year, and
Yeah,
and you can, so I'm an Emperor.
yeah.
Yes, Wheel of Fortune. I relate to that one a lot too. It can be really good and really bad. It's like spin the wheel.
At this, and it could be at the same time.
Yeah, both and yeah.
Overwhelmed and confused and blessed and
Right.
opening up to more depth in my awareness.
Yeah. Very nice. Thank you.
And the ETs,
Mm-hmm.
I wonder what my feelings are about aliens in general. Maybe maybe I'm ready for that kind of visitation too.
Wow. Sure. I mean, well, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't turn it away. Let's put it that way. I find it fascinating, and there's got to be other creatures in the universe. It's so vast and goes on for, and there's, as they always say, there's so many different dimensions and layers of existence. I mean, who knows? You know, we could be sitting right next to something we can't even see because we can't perceive it. You know, that's the other thing too. It's like it could be happening in many different ways. And that's how it felt when Donna appeared. It was like, oh my God, she's right there. She's been right, like she's right here been here all the time. And I'm just kind of like look away, and then I turn back and see her, and it's like, whoa. Um, and the interesting thing was when I had the dream, my husband was right next to me, and he had woken up in the bed in the morning, and he heard me kind of going through this kind of crying and you know, moaning and groaning, and he almost woke me up because he thought I was having a really super bad dream. And I said, thank God you didn't wake me up, because if he would have woke me up, she would have just disappeared and it would have been finished. But it was so real. It was so incredibly real. It felt as though she was just sitting right in front of me. So, and that was the other thing too, like I said, I've had this experience in dreams too, where I'm the only one who can see something that nobody else can see. And I don't know exactly what to do with that, except that I feel like there's some parts of us that we can see things, we can be tuned into certain channels that other people are not tuned into. And that's how I feel. So yeah, so extra. I think that aliens and ETs are probably around us all the time, but they're probably in a different layer and dimension that. I mean, this sounds wild and out there, but that's my belief. Is that it's kind of like, why do we think that they're just coming to visit? They're probably all around us all the time. We just not even paying it. You know, we don't have that. We're not tuned to that channel. We're not tuned to that vibration.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe they don't see us, and we are around them all the time, and they're kind of wondering the same, having their own versions of these of their own dreams.
Right, right. Who knows? Everything's possible.
Why did she call them pavers? Is that really the name of a shoe? I've never heard of that.
That's one of the most
Is
difficult.
that a dream thing, or is that a universal thing?
That's a dream thing.
Mm,
And she
using that
seemed
word.
excited about, you know, but again, she didn't show a whole lot. Her face doesn't show a whole lot of emotion. It's kind of like, you know, hey, you know, by the way, I finally got my pavers. And I'm thinking, and somehow there's an understanding that this means a lot at that her stage of wherever she is on the other side. And I'm thinking, wow, the pavers. And so it was that, again, it's one of those things where, you know, with dreams, you just have to go with whatever you get and record it the way you heard it and understand it. Made no sense to me, still doesn't make any sense to me, but it, in the dream, it meant something. And I wasn't sure what, but something about, like you said, soul, covering the soul. And this seemed important for her to let me know that she had achieved this milestone. Finally got my pavers. Whatever the hell it means.
Moccasins
Yeah, they
were
look like
brought up, and I don't know, but in my version of the native ways, it's
mm,
very, we didn't have many clothes, and just owning, gifting, finding moccasins would have been kind of a big deal, I think,
mhm,
to
mhm,
finally have warm feet or something, so that protection.
mhm. Yeah, that's how it felt. It was just kind of like a, wow, I got these.
Yeah. So what that word means to us in our waking world and what that word means in the dream world are obviously, to me, different. And it does feel to me like this is a representative of something much more than what I'm even ready to understand. I for me, I do believe it has something to do with the soles of my feet and this the a kind of a more of a vulnerability where I am now. I have more vulnerability. I finally got my pavers. You know, in kind of a literal sense, I thought of pavement,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, I need some covering so that the pavement doesn't damage my feet, my soles.
Right.
Um, and uh, again, I just need to underline what my waking self is trying to understand is not close to what the dream self is trying to describe.
Mm. Right. Right. Yeah. It's like another language or something. It's kind of like,
Right.
but it did have a feeling, 'cause she does, the first thing she tells me is that she had to go through a lot of obstructions over like
Oh, she did say that. I
height
forgot about that.
and cement, like as though, anytime we go around a construction zone, there's the cement dividers and there's the big, like, big, huge sewer pipes and stuff that they put into for the big, you know, shopping centers and stuff like that, and housing developments. So that's kind of like she had to climb over all that. And that was the understanding in the dream, was how it wasn't that easy. Like it wasn't like, oh gee, I'm here and then all of a sudden I'm at on the other side. Like there was some kind of obstructions that took place. And
Mhm, mhm.
then the pavers seemed to connect to that somehow. Like now that it's kind of like the understanding was, now that she had done all that, now she got some shoes that she could use. And that was and as I said before, that was a big connection between us and waking life, because and she had bought wonderful, high-end shoes. I mean, like much more wonderful shoes than I've ever purchased in my life. So I have these kind of high-end shoes that, but they fit me perfectly. And that wasn't something we had very much in common. She's like, do you want these? Do you want these? I'm like, sure, I'll take them. So there was a connection with shoes for a long time. So yeah.
Well, again, this dream has so much, and I appreciated the reminder about in the dream when now that I know Donna has died, uh, Donna is reporting about all the obstructions that I had to go through
Mm,
in this uh, transitioning process, perhaps.
right.
And I again, this is where how can we interpret this literally and or symbolically and metaphorically, and so what kinds of experiences do we have, if any, post death, that we move into these realms, and there's a heck of a lot of stuff to get through in
Mhm,
order for me to find my way. And
right.
part of it is in the literal stories of people who have died and have come back. Sometimes they talk about um,
Mm,
those kinds of experiences of what I must go through, and it's like how, we don't know, we don't know, no, we simply can only imagine, and so our dream creates this, and this could literally be true, or it could be, what are some of in my own transitions am I going through that I
mm,
have obstacles to get through in order to get, to the prize, to the
mm,
pavers, to the
mm.
shoes, to my soul, to these little kachina dolls. where all of this is fitting together for me.
Mm. Wow.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So are we ready to arbitrarily end this dream exploration?
Wow, it feels like to me, yes, because I think we. Oh, one thing that we didn't touch on, maybe just a tiny bit, is when I walk into the house in the second dream. Um, it's this gathering in this place I don't recognize,
Mhm.
but there's all kinds of people lying on the floor with little blankets and
Yeah.
a pillow. That's it,
Mhm.
and they're randomly in different
Mhm.
places throughout the house. So,
Mhm.
I wonder if I'm again. There's an element of nurturing, of care. Donna was very nurturing and caring, and I'm wondering if I'm
mm,
continuing with providing myself with enough sleep. Do I have enough blankets?
mm,
Do the people around me, are they being nurtured? Is there a need for more nurturing?
right, right.
It has a nurturing frequency about it.
And I would add, with the wonder of, are these my ancestral energies? These are people I don't know, and they're kind of in this state of sleep.
Mm, interesting. Wow. Yeah. Ahas with both of that. Thank you. I was kind of like, it's sort of like going in, if you go to a dinner party and there's just this people laying, somebody's laying there on the floor with a blanket and a
It's
pillow. And they're
it's
just,
kind of,
nobody makes a big deal about it. They're like,
yeah, it's kind of the ultimate overnight with
yeah,
everybody.
just sleep on the floor wherever you want,
Yeah, sleepover. That's what I meant to
Oh,
say.
that's
It's the
fine.
Oh,
ultimate
yeah. Or
sleepover.
as a dream worker, that would almost feel a bit normal. Or if
Mm.
it just reminds me of my Esalen days, and
Mm.
it's completely, or even airports. People, I don't know. It's just
Oh,
taking care of self, needing to sleep, and I actually have a pillow and a blanket. That seems really cool.
yeah, that's great.
That's why for me it's a nurturing, or I feel
I love it.
they're not. I don't feel like I'm freezing or cold. I have a blanket and I even have a pillow too, so it's comfy.
Yeah. Mm.
My echelon days. Now that sounds inviting.
Uh, that's good.
Excellent,
Excellent.
Esalen.
Excellent.
excellent. I keep wanting
Esalen.
you guys at excellent. Yes, we need to make that happen.
Mhm.
Great.
Perhaps there's listeners who can interpret that and help us get there.
Mm. Great.
Absolutely.
So, where am I now in my dream?
Oh, me. Right, it's my dream. Um, it's unfolding in different ways. Like you said, it's easy to just look at, oh my gosh, this is a visitation dream. I'm so glad that Donna showed up and that excitement and thrill and all that. But to go deeper and see it from other angles and see other things that that happen in the dream. Um, Yeah, and the dolls are always going to remain very interesting to me. And there's something as you mentioned, there's something kind of shamanically important about that. That I think, well, this has become a talisman for me. The jade necklace, and so there's a lot of
And the
things,
shoes.
can be a lot of power. Right. And I do have a lot of shoes that I wear of Donna often. I mean, frequently, like, so yeah, and I have some of her clothes and different kinds of things, but it's to take in the understanding that objects can hold power and can be imbued with power from a person or an event or an idea or a feeling. Um, so that I think with the part at the end with the dolls, but see what's really interesting about the dolls, the way they're constructed, is the heads are really tiny, like the size of like a dime, and then the rest of the bodies are really long and skinny, and in a way there's something metaphor
Mhm.
about that too. It's like the head isn't that important. The
Mhm.
rest of it.
Mhm.
Anyway, so yeah. So thank you for exploring my dream with me. I don't get to work on dreams, my own dreams very often. So thank you.
When was this dream?
March, she
March
said.
23rd.
Okay, gotcha. So we're into May now. Okay, good.
And Donna died, I think, February 8th, the
Mhm.
evening of February 8th.
Mhm.
So about 6 weeks or so after she died. Yeah.
Mhm. Okay.
Hmm.
And and pictures of her continue to show up on my iPhone. And most people that have an iPhone, you know, you get those memories, you know, it says, here's a memory for you from 2017, you know, and then it shows you a little slideshow. Well, almost every day I pick up my phone and there's a picture of Donna.
Mm.
I mean, I have lots and lots of pictures on my phone, so it's amazing that so often ones show up about from Donna. It's like just different random pictures. I love it. It's kind of like her saying hello.
Yeah,
Great.
absolutely.
It's really great.
Absolutely. Well, if someone really did want to get in touch with you, Billie,
Mm.
where might one do that?
Well, my website is wakeuptoyourdreams.com, and I host groups and workshops throughout the month. An evening group and a afternoon group, and I'm getting back into the rhythm of twice a year hosting in-person dream retreats. Also, I help people learn to train as dream workers themselves. So, wakeuptoyourdreams.com.
Always at the
Wonderful.
bottom of the ocean floor, as she says.
Right, broadcasting today.
Yeah, at the bottom of the unconscious or exploring
Deep unconscious.
Mhm.
the deep.
And Royce, tell us about roycefists.com and the geography of the soul.
Okay, thank you.
Mm.
So that is my website, roycefits.com, and I am a spiritual counselor and dream worker. And on my website, if you would care to go, you will see that you, you can receive a 30-minute free consultation just to see what more of this kind of dream work can do. And as one journeys through creating meaning and beauty in our lives, how spiritual counseling can be a part of that journey. And also on the website, there is a button for your free introduction to the book, The Geography of the Soul, Dreams, Reality, and the Journey of a Lifetime. And that book is going to be released in late summer. And in the meantime, reading the intro may prep you, and also on some social media as I get reconnected on TikTok and Facebook and other places, I will be talking more about the release of the book and some of the contents in that.
Mm. That's great.
Mhm.
That's
A wonderful book. I highly recommend it. So download those first few pages
Mhm.
and yeah, we will all anticipate the release of the book. You can probably
Eventually,
pre-sale,
you can pre-order.
pre-order.
Yes,
Yeah,
eventually, but not yet.
not quite yet.
Mhm. But you
Well,
can
if you
send
the
me an
list,
email and I'll keep you on the list. Sorry, I was interrupting.
no problem. If you, the listener, have your own dreams and would like to dive into them, we suggest you write them down. Keep some paper or iPhone somewhere to write. When you wake up, just write the dream down and then call them in to the Dreamer hotline. I'm going to give you the number. It's 720-573-9195. Again, 720-573-9195. We'd love to explore your dream with you. If you'd like to
Mhm.
come on the podcast or just have us riff on the dream off the cuff as we do. My name is Viviana, and I can be reached at viviana.org, viviana.org/magic, MAGIC, where I offer tarot, astrology, and sound healing and some dreams. I have some live in-person dream groups. We are the Healing Dreams Project podcast. We'd love it if you'd send us a little review on Apple Podcasts. That keeps our ratings higher. Also, we are on Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Pandora, all over the place, Spotify, YouTube. We are here and love talking the language of stories and symbols and metaphors and archetypes. And until the next time, happy dreaming.